There are 7 things that banks know that most business owners never discover. And these secrets are the reason why they either get denied or they get approved. And these 7 principles are the key differences between businesses that get denied for funding and businesses that get hundreds of thousands of dollars in growth capital. So by the end of this video, you're gonna know every single principle from 1 all the way to 7 that banks are hiding from you. But before we go ahead and break down all these 7 principles, let's go ahead and backtrack and figure out how I even discovered them. Because the thing is, it was through a lot of trial and tribulations that I ended up finding all these 7 principles. And so every single time I was submitting applications, for some reason, they were getting denied. Application after application, just the same rejection, and I couldn't figure out what was going on for the life of me. And it's crazy because I actually seen businesses with worse credit scores be able to get approved. My client's business was profitable and they had a really great credit score. So we really tried to figure out what was going on. After over countless rejections, I stopped asking the bank why, because they didn't tell me anything more than to look at the piece of paper that was being mailed out for the denial. They didn't really care. So what I did instead was study exactly how the banks made decisions. I ended up looking for patterns and not just one-off chances. I really wanted to understand how institutional funding works. So what I did instead was develop relationships with bankers and also underwriters. So it turns out what I really found out was really a system. Banks actually have a determining algorithm on whether they're gonna go ahead and approve an applicant or they're gonna deny it. And it's a lot more complicated than we think. And after this discovery, this allowed me to be able to go ahead and fund over 200 business owners with over $84 million in funding alone. And once I figured out this system, it allowed me to help out my clients significantly. In just the last couple years alone, we've been able to go ahead and fund over 200 business owners over $50 million in growth capital at a 94% success rate. And the reason we're able to get such a high approval rate, it's not because it's luck or we're simply just getting good files. It's really more about knowing exactly what lenders are looking for, so we know exactly how to properly structure out the business before ever submitting any applications. But it's really because of these 7 principles that I want to share with you guys today on exactly how banks work. Now, secret number 1 is that banks use language that you don't recognize. Whenever people walk into a bank, the majority of people think that the bank is going to evaluate them based off of their vision and how well their business is going to do. But that's really not the case, because each individual bank have their own risk tolerance and they also have their own internal scoring model based off of their internal criteria. And most people think that it's just about the credit score. And it's not just about the credit score, because there's really a lot more factors that come into play. They're going to look at your Dun & Bradstreet number. They're going to look at your Equifax business, your Experian business, and also the type of industry that you're currently in. All of these come together in order to be able for the bank to paint a picture on how risky your business is. Some banks have a scoring model from 1 all the way to 5, and other banks have different scoring models. So you really have to understand how each individual bank is going to identify risk. Banks are also going to analyze your debt ratio coverage, whether you can be able to go and support the loan or not. And they're also going to be able to see exactly if you're able to have the capital set aside just in case they know that you're able to weather any storm based off the volatility. So I had a client that was a real estate investor and had a 7-figure portfolio. So all he was looking for was to be able to get $50,000 in order to be able to go and invest into a new property. All of a sudden, every single bank that we apply with literally denied him. And so what we have to do is simply restructure his business so he can be able to look more presentable to the bank. So as soon as he ended up making these changes, a couple weeks after, he actually was presented with over 3 funding offers that he could accept it. And so it was the same business. We just ended up changing the terminology on how his business was structured so he can be able to get approved and not denied. Now, secret number 2 is that banks actually have minority-owned initiatives that you can be able to qualify for, but most of the times you have to know about the program before you can apply. And it makes sense because most business owners, whenever they walk into a bank, they're going to apply for a traditional loan as advertised. Most bankers will only mention all of the standard lending products because it's not necessarily a program that's going to fit for everybody. So they want to make sure they're presenting all the programs that are going to fit for the majority of people. However, most people don't talk about this, but banks have minority-owned programs which you can be able to qualify for. All you have to do is to simply ask and know exactly what to look for. So there's really entire specialized programs that exist for minorities, women-owned businesses, and also veterans. And you have to be able to go ahead and know exactly where to look for so you can be able to apply. The criteria in order to be able to qualify are going to be a lot less because it's only going to be for a specific amount of applicants. So that's why they want to be able to help you get approved. And so I would definitely go ahead and ask your banker, because they are going to have a relevant department that will handle this. All of these programs are going to be mandated by the federal government. So the federal government actually mandates a lot of these programs. So that's why banks have to be able to go and actually give out the money, and their criteria is going to be a lot less stringent compared to any type of traditional loans or even lines of credit. So I highly recommend that you guys reach out to the relevant department so you can be able to go ahead and get connected with the right person to be able to go ahead and get you approved for these programs. Now, secret number 3 is that bank advisors, they're guides, but they're not financial planners. Whenever you walk into a bank, right, the people that are working there, they are employees of the bank. They don't have to market to be able to go ahead and get new business. They have a lot of business coming to them. And so you have to understand that they're not a financial planner. Now, I'm not going to say that some advisors in the bank don't know what they're talking about, because there's a lot of them that do study up on it and they do research a lot of the information. However, I would just be able to take their information with a grain of salt, because their main goal is to be able to go and actually sell you a product. And whether that's a loan, a line of credit, their whole job is to be able to educate you on those specific products. Now, when you start to ask questions about where should I put my money or what investment should I make, now this is actually going to cross the line to a financial planner, which will be able to give you more detailed information about exactly where you should be able to put your money in the next steps forward. However, bank advisors are not the people to do it. They're not strategists. They simply work within the system. And technically, they're not even supposed to give you any type of investment advice unless they're insured themselves and have actually passed the exam. But for the most part, they're just simply there to be able to go and actually conduct a job, and that's to be able to go ahead and push the products. Understand where they're coming from. Make sure to take any information you get from them, not as the end all be all, but simply more of a direction on where to be able to research. And the thing is, a lot of bank advisors are simply just guides, right? They can be able to show you exactly what route to take. Now, an architect is someone that's able to construct a customized plan fit for you. Most business owners actually need an architect, not just a guide. So never take all the information that comes from a banker as the end all be all. So with secret number 4, right, is that banks don't deny you because you are risky. Banks deny you simply because your structure is risky. So whenever businesses apply to a bank, they can have the same exact business, right? They can both make $400,000 a year. Their owners can have a strong personal credit score above a 720. And they can even be able to be in good standing. However, if you look deeply, one will get approved for $100,000 while the other one will get flat out denied. And the differences between these businesses really lie in their structure. So if you look under the hood, the business that got approved usually had a high business credit score. They had all their financials in place and also had their business and also their personal expenses completely separated. And the business that ended up getting denied had no type of business credit. They didn't have any of their financials in order, and how their company was structured really signaled a high-risk business because they had a personal phone number and they also had a personal address listed for the location of the business. So even though on paper they look like the same business, once you really dive deep and see exactly the differences between how this business is structured compared to another business that gets denied, it's completely different. And the majority of banks are going to look at 3 factors, right? They're going to first look at the overall business credit history. The second thing they're going to look at is how consistent their cash flow is. And the third thing that the banks are going to look at is the business structure. Now, secret number 5 is saving is not wealth building. You should have at least an emergency fund of 6 months of your expenses just set aside. However, anything after that is really not going to help you build out any type of wealth. I mean, think about it, right? If you have money set aside that you just have in a bank account, it's actually losing value compared to gaining value. With inflation at an annual percentage of around 4% every single year, your money year over year in a simple bank account, which gives you less than 0.5% of interest, is simply going down. That's why the wealthiest entrepreneurs deploy capital strategically rather than letting it just sit there dormant. Instead of depositing all of your savings into a bank account, what you really want to do is really be able to go and pour it into revenue generating activities. So if you got any type of investment vehicles such as real estate or even your own business, it's always best to go in and put the excess money that you have saved up into use. You always want to be able to have your money working for you, because rather than your money sitting there and getting a meager 0.5% year over year, which you're technically losing money, instead you want to be able to go and actually have your money working for you. So if you're investing into real estate, now you can at least be able to get at least an 8% return or a 10% return just on your money. Now, there's going to be a lot of different investment vehicles that you can put your money into, but that's just the bare minimum. You should always be able to think, how can my money be able to generate more money? The whole purpose of having money is to allow it to compound. Now, secret number 6 Fees are designed for people that don't pay attention. Every single year, banks generate over billions and billions of dollars in overdraft fees alone, and it's simply because of negligence. Once you don't pay attention to your bank account, you leave yourself vulnerable for the bank to be able to charge you overdraft fees, late fees, all these little fees that add up to $34 or $50 here. I would constantly be getting $34 fees, and even if a payment return, you still be able to get a $36 fee or a $40 fee. Since I took a hit back then, I actually learned my lesson. Every single day, as soon as I wake up, I make sure to check out all my bank accounts, because you want to be able to make sure whatever you can measure, you can be able to manage. If you never ever take a look at your bank account, if you're always anxious, if you're always stressed about what's in your bank account, you're never going to be able to change it. The simplest way to be able to allow your money to grow is to be able to look at it every single day. So that way you're aware of what's happening in your bank account, and God forbid there's any type of overdraft fees or any type of late fees, you can reach out to your bank directly in order to be able to get it waived. And so they should be able to go and give you a complimentary waive. If it's 1 or 2 times a year, you should have been able to learn your lesson. And if this ever happens, what you really want to do is to make sure that you have another account linked to it to automatically drop whenever your account is going low, below a certain threshold. So let's say, for example, your account is going below $5. So if anything does happen, your card gets charged, you now have your other account that's able to deposit more money into that account to be able to keep it above that threshold. Now, secret number 7 is that capital is the ultimate leverage. Only if you know how to use it. In my opinion, it's by far the most important. Being able to access capital strategically is the single most important thing you can be able to do in order to be able to grow your business. However, the problem is that most people approach business funding in a very, very reactive mode. Rather than being proactive, a lot of times whenever they're looking for capital, they just see exactly what's needed to be met at that specific time, rather than thinking proactively ahead of time. If anything happens, such as they need new equipment or they simply need working capital to pay off any type of payroll, it's very, very reactive and it's very, very last minute. The problem with this is that whenever it's reactive and it's last minute, most of the times your financials aren't in the best shape. So your financials are not going to be in the best shape. And for the most part, you're not going to get the best rates. That's why it's always better to be able to go and actually be proactive whenever you have your financials looking good, you guys are very, very healthy, and you don't even need the money. My philosophy is you want to be able to get capital when you don't need it, because when you do need it, you won't be able to get it. And that's simply because when you don't need it, your financials look great. And every single bank wants to lend you money, and they want to lend you money at the best possible rates. So take the money and set it aside just in case down the line you might need it. However, don't seek out capital when you're reactive when you do need it, because that's ultimately going to allow the bank to be able to own your business. They're going to give you super high interest rates, which makes it nearly impossible to be able to climb out of. So start to think months in ahead by being proactive rather than reactive. The numbers are clear as day, and research is always going to show that businesses that have access to capital are able to go and scale their business a lot faster. So whenever things come up, it allows them to be able to go and have first movers advantage. So they're able to hire more personnel, they're able to get more equipment, and they're able to go and actually invest more into advertising to be able to scale their business. And by the time any of their competitor looks around, they've already taken all of the market share. That's why you want to be able to position your business and yourself to have all the access to capital that you need. And that's by being able to think ahead and being strategic with your funding. So most people think of debt as very dangerous. Now, it can be very dangerous if you're using it in order to be able to go ahead and fund your lifestyle or spending it on liabilities that don't pay you anything back. But if you have discipline and you're a responsible borrower, then you're able to go and actually utilize the debt to make you more money. So once you're able to go and be strategic with your debt and also your allocation of where that money goes to, you're able to utilize one of the most powerful levers in order to be able to go and scale your business and also make you more money. That's exactly why secret number 7 is one of the most important, because it doesn't just solve your problems, it allows you to be able to have options and opportunities so you can be able to go ahead and capitalize. Let's go ahead and recap all the different principles that we talked about. Now, secret number 1 is that banks use a specific language, so you better get used to it. Now, secret number 2, that there's specialized doors that exist. All you have to do is know where to look. Now, secret number 3 is to utilize bank advisors as guides and not strategists. Now, secret number 4 is that risk is all about signals and not reality. You want to be able to make sure that you guys are signaling the right thing to the bank so you don't appear risky at all. Now, secret number 5 is that savings protect you, but there are no way to build wealth. Now, secret number 6 is that fees will accumulate if you don't pay attention. Now, secret number 7 is that capital is the ultimate lever if you use it properly. And so whenever I started to learn all about these principles, I stopped seeing the banks as gatekeepers and I really started looking more as a partner, because once you understand how banks work, you're able to utilize them as your best advantage. So if you ever need any type of capital, you know exactly where to go to. The bank should be your best business partner, because as long as you do them right and you're able to understand what they need and how they can be able to get you qualified, then you're able to go and come up with any idea, any type of business venture, then the bank will happily be able to get you the capital that you need. But beforehand, make sure you dive deep into these 7 principles, because that's going to be the difference on whether you guys get approved or get denied.